30,000 Russian troops have been injured or killed in the war, which has now been going on for 1 month.
There are new fears that Russia may resort to using chemical weapons. Those chemical agents could spread into NATO territory.
And just like that, World War III. I know, that's a bit oversimplified, but can you honestly say with confidence that a situation this messy can't get any worse? We're literally watching a nation armed with close to half the world's nukes, the second largest army on the planet, and the closest thing to a modern dictator, aggressively expanding over security concerns.
The rising tensions over Ukraine, Vladimir Putin breaking his silence tonight, accusing the US and NATO of ignoring Russia's latest security concerns and criticizing NATO's presence in Eastern Europe and saying, quote, "They played us." Here we are.
With Russia firmly backed into a corner, literally one wrong move or political mishap can lead to the proverbial tipping point and cast our world into the gloomy shadows of its reminiscent past. Don't believe me? Do you remember this guy? Austrian-Hungarian dude gets assassinated by pro-nationalists in 1914, and not even 2 months later, Germany's invading Luxembourg, British forces arrive in France, and Austria-Hungary is invading Russia. So according to recent history, things can get out of hand pretty quickly. But we are not here to discuss whether or not this conflict will dovetail any further. We are here in response to something I have seen growing in the prophecy community.
Are you listening, Russia? Are you listening, Iran, Turkey, Hamas, Hezbollah? Are you listening?
You know, Persia is, a modern-day Iran is ancient Persia. It was Persia till 1935, and Iran is the Farsi word for Persia. Okay, it's the country along with Russia and Turkey who are going to be the three main people groups are going to invade Israel in the last days.
God is going to crush you when you invade that sacred soil that He has given to the Jewish people.
So Turkey, Russia, and Iran are the big three bad guys of the Bible, according to these pastors. Now, since Russia just invaded Ukraine, clearly this is setting the stage for the end of the world, right? But where exactly are they getting this information from? It all stems from the specific verse found in the book of Ezekiel. Set your face toward Gog, of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Now, to most of us, including myself, this is just a big word jumble, but let's actually try to understand what this prophecy is saying. God specifically revealed himself to the prophet Ezekiel and tells him to prophesy about a specific figure that would come in the future. He is called Gog, of the land of Magog. The term Gog was widely used in Ezekiel's time to denote a powerful leader. Think of Genghis Khan, where Khan was also used as a placeholder for a powerful person of renown. Now, what does this Gog or powerful leader do according to scripture? After many days you will be called to arms. In future years you will invade a land that has recovered from war, whose people have been gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel. You and your troops and the many nations with you will go up, advancing like a storm. You will be like a cloud covering the land. So we see a massive invasion of Israel happen after they are regathered from the nations, which takes place under the leadership of this Gog figure. Now, since Israel was reunified in 1948, and the capital was moved to Jerusalem in 2017, the stage seems to be set for this prophetic invasion to occur since Israel is back in the land. So Gog is said to be of the land of Magog. With all this hype about Russia fulfilling Bible prophecy, can you guess where people put Magog on the map?
Scripture says a nation from the extreme north of Israel will march on her, called Gog and Magog. If you look on any map, you'll see that is the geographical area of Russia.
Yeah, Gog may come from this region: Russia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Turkey.
Gog, as he's called here, and from the land of Magog, could be translated the land from the far north. If you start in Israel and on the map and just go straight north, then you're going to have Russia.
So now you get it. Why do some people think Russia is fulfilling Bible prophecy? It's because they have connected Gog and Magog to the land of Russia. And this Gog that is mentioned is said to be a future Russian leader. Many even think that Putin himself is Gog in the flesh, and this invasion of Ukraine is just the beginning of what will eventually lead to a future Russian invasion of Israel. But is this really biblically accurate? Did the prophet Ezekiel really see a future Russian-led coalition of nations? Or is the truth far more sinister? First, we have to understand that when Ezekiel was given the prophecy, the Magogians were not located in Russia, but were actually located in Anatolia, or what is now modern-day Turkey. Pliny the Elder, a 1st century Roman military commander, referred to the Turkish city of Hierapolis as the heartland of Magog. Herodotus, the Greek historian who lived 150 years after Ezekiel, put Meshach and Tubal squarely in Turkey. Now remember, Gog is said to be the ruler of these two provinces. In fact, if you look at the majority of Bible atlases, you will find that most of them put Magog here, in Turkey, as opposed to here, in Russia. Okay, now hold on a second. There is actually a case to be made for a Russian connection to Magog, and it goes a little something like this. Sure, the Magogians were originally in Turkey, but according to the ancient historian Josephus, Magog founded the Magogians, thus named after him, but who are by the Greeks called the Scythians, or peoples north of the Black Sea. So the Magogians become the Scythians, who migrated northward to the Black Sea, and eventually became Russia, and voila, Gog and Magog are Russian. But hold on, is this really the responsible way to go about identifying these nations? Let's look back at Ezekiel's vision. Persia, Cush, and Put are with them, all of them with shield and helmet, also Gomer with all of its troops, and Beth Dagorma with all of its troops, the many nations with you. Now here's where it gets interesting. Cush is said to be Sudan, and Put is said to be Libya, and of course we can't forget about Persia, which is modern-day Iran. And these pastors would actually agree with me.
And the other countries that are mentioned, Put, Cush, refer to Libya, and possibly Morocco and Algeria. But anyway, they're going to be in northern Sudan.
Okay, so this is the map that they're giving us. This is the current popular mainstream view of the Gog and Magog invasion, according to these pastors. Now Cush, Put, Persia, Beth Dagorma, and Gomer are all said to be the same people groups living in the region at the time of Ezekiel's vision. But wait a minute, didn't we trace the migration of the Magogians from Turkey into Russia? Why wouldn't we do the same with these other nations? After all, the Cushites, native to the land of Cush, migrated all over Central and Southern Africa. The ancient peoples of Gomer, or Gomerai, migrated westward and became the Gauls, which eventually migrated all over Western Europe. So should we expect Tanzania to be a part of this last time invasion? Or Ireland to join in? The truth is, if we use the migration method to locate the Magogians in Russia, we should do the same with these other nations, but it doesn't happen. So if we really want to know the truth about the identity of Gog and Magog, we need to look through Ezekiel's eyes when he was given the vision.
How did Ezekiel, at the time the prophecy was given, understand these names? Well, at the time of the prophecy, Magog was simply Turkey. Persia was modern-day Persia, Iran, okay, Cush and Put. We're talking Sudan and Libya, North Africa.
So according to Ezekiel, the map turns from this to this. Now why is this significant? Well, if we dig even deeper, the map turns into this. The fact of the matter is, every single nation mentioned in Ezekiel's prophecy are currently Muslim-majority nations. And since Gog is the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, which are primarily located in Turkey, that means Gog must be a Turkish leader. Now this is an even deeper clue because Turkey was the former seat of the Muslim coalition of nations known as the Ottoman Empire, which coincidentally ruled the same lands we see in Ezekiel's prophecy. So did God reveal a future Islamic invasion of Jerusalem from the former seat of Muslim power in Turkey? Time will tell. Currently, the Turkish President Erdogan is calling for a revival of the very empire that Ezekiel warned would rise again to march on Jerusalem.
Now, Turkey is ruled by a leader who wants to take his country back to its Ottoman ambition.
So as the world has their eyes on Russia as the big bad guy of the Bible's future, the once forgotten empire that dominated the Middle East is slowly coming back to life with a vengeance. And if it does, it might just set its sights on the only threat to Muslim rule in the neighborhood: Jerusalem.